South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday delivered his first State of the Nation address since his re-election before both houses of parliament, revealing 5 fundamental goals and 7 priorities that his new administration will focus on moving forward. Mr. Ramaphosa pledged to grow the economy, create jobs, improve education, and reaffirm his administration's commitment to land distribution, among other things. My colleague in South Africa, Becky Male, is joining us now to wrap up the week for us. Becky, it's good to see you this afternoon. So let's get into business straight away. How welcoming was President Ramaphosa's speech or State of the Nation address to investors, to economic watchers, and to journalists like you in South Africa?
Well, good afternoon. The president's speech yesterday was, there was nothing new about it, it was all like a lot of promises again, over and over. And, economies and other people felt like, he's just repeating himself. He's becoming like, a broken record now. He keeps repeating himself. But then one thing that he was a bit tricky was that he did not outline the how. He just pointed out, these are the things that he's going to do. These are the things that the government wants to achieve in the next 5 years. But then he didn't point out the how. So there is no step 1, we're going to do this. Step 2, we're going to do this. He just, he just sold dreams basically and said, okay, this is what I want to achieve, and this is what we will have, and this is what the government wants to have. So it wasn't well received.
It wasn't well received, but the president, Mr. President, spoke about 2 ailing government state-owned enterprises. Eskom, the utility giant in South African Airways, the pride of the country when it comes to airline business. But I'm sure everyone will be more concerned about Eskom and how to resolve the power utility. Is there anything new in what the Mr. President says about how to resolve Eskom's debt and giving this company a new lifeline?
Well, the president actually has pushed.
Oh, Becky Male, I guess we lost that Skype connection there out of Johannesburg. Thank you very much, Becky Male, our correspondent in South Africa, trying to unpack President Ramaphosa's speech yesterday. Says there was nothing precisely anything significantly new from what Mr. President says in his State of the Nation address. As he repeated a few things on what he intends to do, but not much of how it's going. The administration will do them. But one of the key issues has to do with Eskom, the utility giant with energy shortage in South Africa, responsible for the country's sluggish economy. I think, Becky, you're back on the line right now. Thank you so much. Will you just pick it up from there, still talking about Eskom and the way forward for this utility?
Yes, as I was saying, the president has urged the public to also contribute, because you get a lot of illegal connections in the country. And then you get a lot of people who are not paying for electricity because they feel like it is a basic right. And, they were promised, some sort of, a lot of promises were made during the course of the independence. But then he is urging the people, that we should all contribute towards this. Because if you look at the place like Soweto, the debt that comes from Soweto is like 17 billion rands towards Eskom. So the president is urging, let us all start pulling our weight and, assisting such parastatals. So he is saying, no, he is pushing for the bailout, but he's also counting on the people to lend Eskom a hand.
Becky Male, let's leave it there for today. Perhaps if you all folks sit down and digest Mr. President's speech over the weekend, maybe when we get back together next week, we'll find something new in Mr. President's State of the Nation address, bringing us up to speed all the time. Let's just digest it over the weekend and get together. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Let's move on to neighboring Zimbabwe, where the country's interim currency has fallen to a new low on the black market, and local firms are demanding payment in US dollars. And I mean the greenback. That's as a hedge against inflation, which is running at its highest in a decade. The RTGS dollar, which is new arrangement for currency in Zimbabwe, has plunged 60% against the US dollar since its introduction in February 2019. And public sector workers are now demanding for a second pay rise this year that could undermine the government's drive to convince lenders of some fiscal discipline. The RTGS dollar, introduced by the new administration in Harare on February the 22nd, as is the first step towards a new currency by the end of 2019, trading at 10.5 to the US dollar on Thursday, 14.3% lower than a week ago. More than 80% of Zimbabweans earn RTGS dollars, but from bricks to rentals, car parks, and many grocers, prices are now pegged in the greenback. That's the US dollar. Back in South Africa, where the mobile phone operator Vodacom Group has entered into agreements to sell some of its business Africa operations, which offer better managed services to enterprises. Vodacom, which is majority owned by Vodafone Group PLC, says it agreed to sell the Angolan asset of its business Africa unit to Internet Technologies of Angola. Vodacom also agreed to sell business Africa's operations in Nigeria, Zambia, Côte d'Ivoire to Synergy Communications and to Vodafone Ghana. Vodacom will no longer directly service global enterprise customers in the 5 markets covered in the agreements, but would continue to operate as a telecommunications network provider through local service provider agreements. Those agreements, however, are subject to regulatory approvals in all those markets. Now, the French maker Peugeot has opened its $630 million US factory in Kenitra's Atlantic Free Zone near Rabat in Morocco. According to Morocco's industry minister Mole El Alami, Peugeot will initially produce annual 1,000 cars in the year 2020 and will increase that to 200,000 by the year 2023. The new automobile plant is expected to boost Morocco's exports as the country struggles to curb a trade deficit that widened 5% to $7 billion in the first 4 months of this year compared with the same period of 2018. Morocco's automotive sector sales accounted for 27.1% of the country's exports at 27.7 billion dirhams in the first 4 months of this year, up 0.3% compared to the same period of last year. In a remote town in southern Nigeria, we're finishing back home here, 15-year-old Hope Frank has built his own manual mini excavator using wood and syringes. Interesting. Frank started tinkering with different electronic gadgets at the tender age of 5, leading him to create a toy helicopter, then a mini grader using an old laptop battery. You want to see this?
At a neighborhood in Uyo, southern Nigeria, Hope Frank is showcasing his latest invention, a mini excavator manually controlled using syringes, plungers, and wires. Neighbors watch as he uses syringes as hydraulics to get his homemade excavator to scoop sand and dump it. Frank started tinkling with different electronic gadgets at the tender age of 5, leading him to create a toy helicopter, then a mini grader using an old laptop battery.
I like creation. I like people who are inventors. So I did the laundry practicum because from what I know, they said that inventors tried for many times and still failed. I did that, but I still failed. I did this for 1 year before I succeeded it.
Frank's latest invention has made him the talk of the neighborhood, where some have been known to give him small amounts of money as a sign of their support.
They tell me about this small boy. Say he's trying to fix the excavator. Something that I see for Europe, that I come see here. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm happy about this small boy.
The materials here in here, you don't have such DC here in Akwa Ibom State, so you need to import it, create your account online to import the materials here. So my biggest challenge is money.
Frank, who dreams of working with a top engineering company one day, is already working on his next invention, a helicopter controlled by a wireless remote.
His first name is Hope, and that's a future hope for one of Nigeria's future hopeful in technological innovation. Let's sleep over that, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you next time.